In the 1950s, a scientist named Harry Harlow conducted a brutal experiment. He took newborn monkeys and gave them two artificial mothers, one made of wire that provided milk and one made of soft cloth that provided only warmth. Which one did the babies choose? The cloth mother. Always. They only went to the wire mother to feed, then immediately ran back to the soft one. They clung to her for hours, even if it meant staying hungry. At the time, science believed love was a luxury, that food was all that mattered. The monkeys proved the opposite. And humans? Humans are no different. You are not built to be alone. That's not weakness or emotional dependency. That's biology. That's evolution. It's the result of millions of years in which humans survived only because they stuck together. Your brain has an entire system devoted to one purpose: social connection. It's called the social brain, and it's massive. About 40% of your total brain capacity is dedicated to understanding others, interacting with them, and navigating relationships. 40%. Nearly half of your cognitive machinery exists just to connect with other people. For comparison, the areas responsible for problem solving and logical thinking, much smaller. Your brain has decided that people matter more than anything else, more than math, more than planning, more than abstract thought. And there's a reason for that. Without others, you die. Not metaphorically, but literally. A human alone in the wild, dead within days or weeks. A group of humans, they build civilizations. You are a social creature. And when you long for closeness, that's not a flaw in your personality. It's a feature of your species. Let's talk about oxytocin, the so-called cuddle hormone. Oxytocin is released when you hug someone, look into their eyes, laugh with them, or feel safe and connected. And it does something amazing. It reduces cortisol, your stress hormone. It lowers blood pressure. It calms your nervous system. It tells your body, everything's okay. You're safe. You're not alone. But here's the thing. Oxytocin isn't a luxury system. It's a survival system. Studies show that people with strong social bonds have a 50% higher survival rate than those who are isolated. 50%. That's more than the difference between smokers and non-smokers. Loneliness is deadlier than 15 cigarettes a day. That's not an exaggeration. That's data. Why? Because without social connection, your body enters chronic stress. Your immune system weakens. Inflammation rises. Your cardiovascular system suffers. Your body interprets isolation as a life-threatening danger. Because in evolutionary terms, it was. If you were cast out from your tribe, you were dead. No help in hunting, no care in sickness, no defense against enemies. That's why loneliness feels so awful. It's not drama, it's not weakness. It's your body saying, this is dangerous. We need other people. And yet, we're ashamed of it. I shouldn't be so needy. I should be more independent. I should be fine on my own. Should. But who told you that? Who decided that needing closeness is weakness? Modern society worships independence. Self-made. I don't need anyone. I'm strong enough on my own. That's not just unrealistic, it's biologically wrong. No one is self-made. Absolutely no one. Every successful person had others. Parents, teachers, mentors, partners, friends. People who caught them when they fell. People who believed in them when they didn't believe in themselves. The illusion of total independence is dangerous. It turns a natural need into a pathology. I'm too clingy. I'm too emotional. I need too much. You don't need too much. You need what every human needs: connection, closeness, the feeling of being seen and held, of not being alone. And if the people in your life can't give you that, the problem isn't your neediness. The problem might be that you're with the wrong people. Love isn't just romantic. That's crucial to understand. The ancient Greeks had 8 different words for love. We only have one, and that makes us blind to the richness of what we need. There's eros, passionate, romantic love. Philia, deep friendship, the bond with someone who understands you without explanation. Storge, familial love, the unconditional acceptance ideal parents give their children. Agape, universal love, compassion for all beings simply because they exist. Pragma, enduring love that deepens and stabilizes over time. Ludus, playful love, flirtation, lightness, joy without heavy attachment. Mania, obsessive love, possessive, jealous, unhealthy but real. And Philotia, self-love, the ability to accept and value yourself. You don't need all 8, but you need more than one. If you focus only on romantic love and ignore your need for friendship, family connection, or self-acceptance, you'll always stay hungry. Even the most perfect relationship can't fulfill all your needs for connection. You need a network, a village, a circle of people who each see and love different parts of you. Let's talk about touch. Your skin is your largest organ, covered in receptors specifically designed for social touch. When someone touches you gently, a hug, a hand on your shoulder, a brush along your arm, it activates a special system in your nervous system, the C-tactile fibers. These fibers don't just transmit physical sensation, they send a signal straight to your limbic system, the emotional core of your brain. The message? You're safe, you're connected, you're not alone. That's why a hug can calm you when you're stressed, why holding someone's hand can reduce pain, why babies who aren't touched fail to develop normally. In Romanian orphanages in the 1980s, children were fed, kept clean, but rarely touched. No hugs, no cuddles, just functional care. Those children developed massive developmental delays, stunted growth, cognitive problems, inability to form attachments. Not because they lacked food, but because they lacked touch. They lacked love. Humans need touch the way plants need sunlight. It's not optional, it's essential. And in our modern world, where we sit behind screens, keep our distance, maintain professional boundaries, many people are starving for touch. They just don't know that's what's missing. I don't need anyone to be happy. That's the modern mantra. And on one level, it's true. You shouldn't rely on a single person for all your happiness. That's too much pressure for any relationship. But the idea that you don't need anyone at all, that's not strength, that's defense. Many people who claim they need no one have simply learned to suppress their need for connection because it didn't feel safe to show it, because they were hurt, disappointed, betrayed. So they decided, if I don't need anyone, no one can hurt me. That's understandable, but it's also a prison, because the truth is, yes, if you open up, you can get hurt. If you love, you risk loss. If you connect, you become vulnerable. But the alternative, total emotional isolation, isn't life. It's survival, a slow drying of the soul. Researcher Brené Brown says it perfectly. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest measure of courage. When you can say, I need you, I miss you, I'm afraid to lose you. That's not weakness, that's courage, that's honesty, that's being human. Here's the paradox. The strongest relationships aren't between people who need each other to survive. They're between people who choose to be together, even though they could survive alone. You have to learn to be okay with yourself, not because you don't need others, but so your need doesn't turn into desperation. There's a difference between I need you and I can't live without you. The first is healthy. It acknowledges the reality that humans are made for each other. The second is dependency, fear disguised as love. Healthy connection comes from two whole people choosing to share their lives, not from two broken halves clinging to feel complete. You're allowed to need closeness. You're allowed to long for touch. You're allowed to wish to be held. But you should also be able to hold yourself, soothe yourself, love yourself, not instead of others, but alongside them. Let's talk about what happens when connection is missing. The loneliness epidemic is real. Over 60% of people in the US report feeling regularly lonely. In Germany, the numbers are similar, and the consequences are devastating. Chronic loneliness increases the risk of heart disease by 29%, stroke by 32%, dementia by 50%, and early death by 26%. These aren't small numbers. These are massive health risks. But it's not just physical. Loneliness changes your brain. When you're chronically lonely, your brain shifts into survival mode. It becomes hypervigilant. Every social interaction feels potentially threatening. You interpret neutral faces as hostile. You withdraw further. It's a vicious cycle. Loneliness makes connection harder, and that deepens the loneliness. But here's the good news. The system can be reversed. A single positive connection can break the cycle. One person who truly sees you, who listens, who's present. You don't need 100 friends or a big family. You just need a few real connections, people with whom you can be yourself. Not everyone loves the same way. Some express love through words, saying, "I love you," giving compliments, talking about feelings. Others show love through actions, cooking, fixing things, helping in practical ways. Some show love through gifts, not out of materialism, but to say, "I thought of you." Some show love through quality time, being fully present, sharing experiences. And some through touch, hugs, kisses, holding hands, physical closeness. Problems arise when you give love one way but need it another. You say, "I love you," constantly, but your partner needs your time. They hear your words but still feel unloved. Or you help with tasks, but your partner craves touch. They see your efforts but feel emotionally distant. The solution isn't deciding whose way is right. It's learning to love in the language the other understands. And just as importantly, communicating what you need, clearly, directly, without blame. "I need more physical closeness" isn't criticism. It's information. It helps the other person love you better. The power of real connection is that it heals. Trauma researchers have found that the key factor in healing trauma isn't the specific therapy technique. It's relationship. People heal through connection, through feeling seen and accepted, through experiencing someone staying even when things get hard. That's why therapy works when it works. Not because of the method, but because of the bond between therapist and client. That's why support groups work. Not because of perfect advice, but because people hold each other. Because they're not alone in their pain. You can't heal alone. Not really. Not sustainably. Most of our deepest wounds are relational wounds. They happened in relationships through rejection, neglect, betrayal, abuse. And they heal in relationships through acceptance, attention, trust, care. You need someone who truly sees you and stays, who knows your darkness and doesn't run, who can hold your vulnerability without breaking. That's not weakness. That's how humans work. We're not made to carry our wounds alone. We're made to share them. And in that sharing, in being seen, we find healing. So here's what I want to tell you. It's okay to need closeness. It's okay to long for someone. It's okay to not want to be strong all the time. You're not too emotional. You're not too needy. You're not too much. You're human. And being human means connection. Your need for love in all its forms isn't a flaw. It's what keeps you alive. It's what makes life worth living. Stop being ashamed of needing people. Stop apologizing for wanting closeness. Stop pretending to be an island. You are not an island. You never were. You are part of something greater. And the strongest thing you can do is to recognize that, to accept it, to live it. Tonight when you go to bed, your body will produce oxytocin when you think of someone you love. Your nervous system will calm as you imagine being held. That's not fantasy, that's biology. Your body knows what it needs. It tells you every day, with every longing for a hug, every wish for a deep conversation, every ache to be understood. Listen to it. Because love isn't a luxury you have to earn. Love is a need you've had since birth. And you deserve to have it met. Not someday, not when you're worthy enough, but now. Just as you are. You are worthy of love. Always have been. Always will be.